storm show. Ay, it's a storm show.
All right, cool. So Chasers, today I have a guest here that I actually sought out, and I was happily surprised when he obliged to come and actually speak with us and grace us with his presence. His name is Marc Nelson. Okay, you may remember songs called Chocolate Mood, 15 Minutes. You know, all I need is 15 minutes. Like, I was trying to do the dance. I didn't quite have it, though. I ain't quite got it. I might do stuff like that for Halloween and wear that leather outfit. But I promise you, if you are a baby of the 90s, your parents probably played many of this man's records. He's also the co-founding member of Boyz II Men. So we're going to get to know him more.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. And so I have to ask you, we have to just hop right into it.
Yes.
You come from a famous family. And so I assume you actually got your voice from your mother, Phyllis Nelson.
Yeah, I would like to say both my mother and my father, Ronald Lee. But I would definitely say my mother was my original influence because, you know, she was in the music industry as well before me, clearly. And music was always around me. She was writing songs, and she would, as a little kid, she would say, "Mark, come here," while she was sitting at the piano. "I want you to sing this part for me." Like, "Mark, I just go play." So, you know, but music was always around me. I would just say that she definitely influenced me. My dad, saxophone player, could sing as well. He was a major influence too. But I'd like to tell people that even though they were influences, they weren't the reason why I wanted to do music. I just know it was in my system, and I didn't realize it was something I was interested in until the group New Edition came out.
Gotcha. Until New Edition came out. And they didn't New Edition have a song called Boyz II Men, and that's kind of where you got the name from?
That's exactly where we got the name from. Yep. Love that song, by the way.
Because you know what? What was the original name for Boyz II Men?
Well, Boyz II Men was Boyz II Men. A lot of people confuse Boyz II Men with a group that me and Nate started called Unique Attraction.
Oh.
And so Unique Attraction was a group with 5, but the other 3 were a year in high school ahead of us. So when they graduated out of high school, it was just me and Nate left.
Okay.
And so that's when we decided to come up with another group, and we put Mike, Sean, and Wanye in it. We called it Boyz II Men.
Gotcha. Okay. Because you know, you read stuff on the internet and it's like, oh, it was Unique Attractions first, and I'm like,
yeah.
I don't remember seeing that in the movie, but okay.
Yeah, you get all kinds of stories, which is cool. It makes it interesting, you know.
That is
different
very
narrative.
True.
Yeah.
And so this is what I wonder, because did you end up graduating from Philadelphia High School of Performing Arts?
I did, absolutely.
Okay. And so
yeah, I mean, it was a great school too, by the way. It was like the TV show Fame, the movie Fame. It was just like that.
Oh, so that means that school was also like LaGuardia.
Performing Arts. So in New York, you're saying like LaGuardia?
Yeah, I think it's
yeah. Well, yeah, it was called Creative. It was called Creative and Performing Arts High School. We called it Kappa. Okay. And so, you know, me and the guys, our focus and emphasis was on vocals. So we were in a choir together, major choir together, like 4 periods out of every day, you know, and that's how I was able to like determine the best quality of chemistry, you know, between us.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, I always like to ask people this: when you first started that group, did you have any idea what you were in for? I guess you did because your mother was in the industry, but did you have the vision of how far you would go, or no?
Yeah, you know, I try to say this with a certain amount of humility because I praise God for the success that we've been allowed to have. But I believe that I don't believe you can really have success if you're not really confident about where you're trying to go. So yes. I'd have to say yes. I had an idea because I just felt like it was something. Now, how we got there might be a whole other story. But, you know, I would say I never have a plan B, I have a plan A, and that was it. So, you know,
I like that. Well, that also means that when you only have a plan A, you're going to force yourself to put 110% of yourself into whatever you're going after. I think a lot of us I think a lot of us come up under people that have their own insecurities and they put it in us and say, oh, well, you know, if that don't work or if that don't work, and you got to have the mindset of, no, it will work.
Yes, very true. And in the defense of parenting, I think they're only speaking from the basis of financial security and stability. We didn't get in it for money. Money is inevitable. Right. And so I think that's why the focus was so incredible, because we were just passionate about it. And I think that anything you're passionate about and you pursue it because of your passion, and you're turning it into a career means monetary. So therefore, it's going to make money, but you should never focus on money. You should focus on what you're passionate about, and that money will flourish.
It really will. I've seen it in my own life, because I'm just like, I could do this for free, and now I don't have to. So I love it.
Exactly.
And so you ended up leaving Boyz II Men before they got their first deal, or what was the situation around you actually leaving the group?
Yeah, well, that is the narrative, and it's a false narrative. And as a sort of disclaimer, I'm currently working on a book that I'm writing called As a Boy, Yet a Man. Nice. In which I will divulge like the entire story, but I'll give you some, you know, just so you can get a kind of a mouthful. So me and the guys were signed to a local management, and that local management was not going to be a part of what Michael Bivins was doing when I got us discovered by Michael Bivins. And so I had signed to the management company as an adult at 18 years old, and the other guys were 17 and under. So it was easier for them to get out of the contract than it was for me. The managers weren't letting me go.
Yeah, because they were literally minors. Yeah.
And that began the downward spiral for me and my opportunity to be successful with, you know, my own group, which was very devastating for me. I mean, clearly very, very tragic and devastating for me, in which I'll go and express and explain that, you know, further in the book. But the narrative of me creating something with Nate that I walk away from as if I want to be a solo artist is just not true at all.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad we were able to actually clear that up, because when you research the group, that is literally what it says. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
And he left.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. See, that's why they say you want the true story, you got to go straight to the source, like, because people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I let that story live for a very long time. I'm not really sure if it was the best thing to do or not, but it's a beautiful thing to be able to, like you said, come full circle, heal from it, learn from it, grow, and here we are.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And it also shows you that no matter what happens, you can't let it stop you. You just have to keep pushing. If it's your passion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, when I saw that this was slipping through my fingers, as I said, I was totally crushed, heartbroken, and it was very traumatic for me. But I'll never forget one day, you know, I sat home, cried like a baby for a long time, and just wiped my tears and said, hey, what am I going to do? Am I going to sit here and roll over and die, or am I going to make something happen? And I decided to live. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's a testament that a lot of people need to definitely catch in life. Always live. Life goes on. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you move on from that. You start your solo career, and you signed initially to Capitol Records, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And you got big off of Marvin Gaye's "I Want You." You ended up covering that.
Yeah. You know, again, being at such a trying time in my life because of not getting with Boyz II Men, the record label felt that it would be a good idea for me to do this cover of Marvin Gaye because I could sing it well. And I wouldn't necessarily say I got big off of it. It was just kind of the beginning, the spark of my career. Yeah. I always felt like being 19 and singing Marvin Gaye was just a bit out of pocket. I was too young. in my mind to sing that record, but they were trying to groom me as this new Marvin Gaye-ish type of an individual. And as
You
I
sung
told
it,
you,
but you sung it like a grown ass man though.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah. I just wasn't, I guess I said my mindset, I wasn't into soloism to begin with. So I just really was going with what the label wanted me to do. And yeah, I mean, it turned out, we did, I had a couple of singles. I did I Want You and then Count on Me,
Yep.
which is a ballad that I did. But yeah, I mean, if I had to do it over again, it probably would be some other records. But I'm grateful again, I'm grateful for just the journey itself.
And you know what? When I was actually listening to that, it reminded me of how like Monica sung songs and she was like 15 talking about a 30-year-old woman's
Yeah,
experience.
exactly. Yeah.
Usher was what, 9 or 10 singing stuff with a little pimp
Yeah.
cane. I'm like, man,
Yeah. At that time, artist development was very big. Okay. I don't know what it's like today, but artist development was really big.
it's
And what I mean by
non-existent
that,
today. It's non-existent today. It's
yeah,
gone.
well, there you have. Back then, it was really, really important. And a lot of times, the artist developers, the A&R people, were trying to find creative placement with the young artist. It's not an easy thing to break a solo artist, which is why, if you notice, most solo artists start out in a group and become very successful. Most of them, you know what I'm saying? Even Johnny Gill, for example, started as a solo artist and didn't do exceptionally well until he got into New Edition and came out and did his thing. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a solo artist and you're young, it's like, what do you do with this person? What kind of music do you do with this person? So when I did Marvin Gaye's I Want You, that's what they were thinking. But I was super young, too young,
Yeah.
And but it is what it is. You live and you learn.
And it's the industry. They kind of
Yeah.
do what they want. So one thing I have to know, because I'm sure back in the day, and still probably even today, the ladies was after you. So you have to tell us, what was your craziest performance story, tour story, something where you're like, wow, I'm so glad there were not any cameras in the room with that. We got to know the craziest story.
Wow, he went there. Okay.
Are you living a hectic and stressful life? Between the news and racial stress and trauma, do you find yourself feeling alone and anxious? If so, join our community, Mind, Body, Faith, and learn how to establish daily practices that aid in healing the mind, body, and spirit, like meditation, yoga, prayer, breath work, and journaling. Pause and let your spirit breathe by using our meditation prayer cards and meditation candles when you need to reconnect with God. Start on your new path by taking our meditation quiz, because it's always a good time to meditate with God.
I don't know if this is a tour. This is not a tour. Yes, it is. It's actually a tour story. All right, here we go. So Babyface was my mentor, total idol. I mean, I worship the ground he walked on. And his wife at the time was Tracy Edmonds.
Yes.
And I am doing MTV Unplugged with Babyface. I featured on that with him. And this was right around the time when I had just been let go of As Yet, who I was the lead singer for.
Okay.
So I'm joined at the hip with Babyface. Like, where he goes, I go. Every time you see him, you see me, because I was constantly working with him, and I was on his label, The Face Records. And while we were in New York preparing for the MTV Unplugged, a rumor began to spread that I said I was sleeping with Tracy Edmonds. And he had no choice as a man but to approach me about it. And he could see the look on my face when he brought it to my attention, that I was like almost in tears. And I think the thing that just washed it completely away, I said, I said, Kenny, what would be the one thing that would damn near force you to sever your relationship with me? And that would be to talk about your wife in a negative way.
Right.
And he asked me, he said, where were you on this day? And the beauty of it is I was with him.
Oh, well, there you go.
So that canceled it altogether,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he saw I was really hurt. I was hurt because, you know, I wouldn't even dream of anything like that, let alone, you know, actually do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or even attempt to speak that way. And then he pulled me to the side. He said, listen, he said, I know you didn't. He said, but I had to ask you anyway, you know, as a man to man. And I said, I understand. I said, but it's really fun. Oh, and then I told him, I said, you know what? Don't even tell me who spread this rumor, because God and I know it ain't true. You know, I worship the ground you walk on. And we stayed cool ever since, you know.
Good.
So that's a crazy story.
Wow. Because, you know, well, I mean, I know you said you didn't want to know, but it was obviously somebody that was hating on how close you were to him and what you guys were doing together.
I eventually found out who it was.
Oh,
And I'm just going to leave it at that. Because, you know, it's not worth it. I mean, you know, the music industry the entertainment industry is just scandalous beyond reason. And everyone knew that Babyface was my idol at the time. So, and they obviously had beef with me, so they wanted to throw shade, but it didn't work because I was too integral. You know?
Yeah, and I'm glad he talked to you. A lot of things can be solved with just a simple conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can look. A lot of people think they good liars. They not. You can tell. It's always in the body language. And so I know you spoke how you were let go of As Yet. Mm-hmm. That group was formed like in the mid 90s, and you guys ended up going platinum. So what led to that breakup?
Okay, so yeah, we recorded in 95, released in 96. Like you said, we went on to have multiple platinums around the world, nominated for Grammys and American Music Awards and Billboard Awards and Soul Train Awards and stuff. And the thing is that, you know, a lot of people don't know, groups are not a very easy thing to stay in if you don't have your business mind right, you know. And in this group, there were a couple of cliques. So that means, you know, 3 guys over here like best friends, one guy was his own thing, and I was kind of like left kind of out in the cold, but yet I'm the lead singer of this group. And it appeared that no matter what I attempted to do to bond with my brothers, they weren't interested. You know, it was strictly business. And I think, to be perfectly honest with you, when I originally got in that group and we started to record Last Night and Hard for Me to Say I'm Sorry, just that CD, Babyface took a special interest in me in terms of my vocal ability. So in between recording our CD, he would call me and have me come back to the studio to do more work on other people's records. I mean, I was on like the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack.
Okay.
I did the backgrounds to You're Making Me High for Tony Braxton. I even wrote a song for him for his CD called The Day. And I mean, he had me work with everybody, Michael Jackson, you name it. I was on it. And I think that sparked a pinch of resentment, envy, and jealousy. But I don't say that gloatingly. I say that sad, honestly, because, you know, in my defense, I did everything I could to try and connect with my brothers so that we could have longevity, because we were on our way. It was a beautiful, beautiful situation.
I saw.
And yeah, thanks. And you know, they weren't trying to connect. And then
you know what it is? People don't like to play their positions. Everybody ain't meant to be lead. Everybody not meant to be the focus. And if you're the star, it's no different than when Pink was in that group before she got big. Nicole Scherzinger with Pussycat Dog. It was just like they pick one and they like, oh, you got the it factor. I don't.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you there, right? And but what I want to say, and this is just, I call it growth. When I was with Boyz II Men before they took off, I was lead as well, but I was not only confident, I was sort of cocky, a bit arrogant about knowing I am that dude, right? And then not having the success with them humbled me so much because I was so hurt by not being a part of it, that when I got with As Yet, I didn't have that same arrogance. I more so had, let's be a team and teamwork, right?
Right.
And then how am I gonna say no to Babyface when he's asking me to come into the studio while we're rehearsing? I just was kind of like, it's the president of our label and he's my mentor. There's no way I can say no. I mean, he's the reason that we have a group.
And he's
right. Yeah. So, but then when, I did everything I could do, they kind of found a way to try to find a reason to let me go. And that went dead against how L.A. Reid felt and Babyface felt, because they were in total support of me being in that group because I was the lead singer of the group. But then I circled back and I'm with Boyz II Men now for like the last 8 years in Vegas. But I'm saying that to say, I don't sing lead with Boyz II Men. I actually sing the background vocal and then I do a feature. But my heart is so humble about whatever because I'm just enjoying being on the stage. I tried to put that mindset in As Yet. Meaning I didn't come in here thinking I'm the dude, I'm the lead singer. So when you talk about play your position, even though I'm the lead singer, it doesn't mean I'm by myself. It takes all of us to make that group amazing. It's not just me making a group amazing. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Boyz II Men are amazing because of the collective, not the individual.
And I hear you, and it's a shame because you see so many groups where you guys could have took over the world.
Yeah.
You go in pride, it'll mess it up every time.
Big time, man. Big time.
So how is it now? Now that I know the residency in Vegas with Boyz II Men is on pause, of course, because of COVID-19. Yeah. But stuff will get back to normal. Like, especially after this election, I got a feeling magically 2021.
I was just telling somebody that the exact same thing. If the world's gonna get back. What was your question?
Right back to normal. So how is it working with the guys now as fully grown men, fathers, maybe some of them are grandfathers? How is it working with them at this point in life?
It's amazing to me. I think because when I started 8 years ago, it was so emotionally charged for me because of, starting with them and the creation of it, not being a part of it during the years of all the major success, only to circle back around, be on the same stage with my guys. That was emotionally charged for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get on that stage and I'm like damn near trying to keep my tears back because I'm like blown away that I'm back on stage, with my group. And it's so funny, like everyone sees Boyz II Men like Boyz II Men, and I see them like my high school.
Embrace Pangea is a Black-owned health and wellness brand that has solidified themselves as being able to take care of your yoni. But guess what? They do more than just service your yoni. Yes, as a matter of fact, Embrace Pangea has products to cover you from head to toe, inside and out. And in particular, let me tell you about a couple products that I personally use. Number one is the herbal tooth powder that is better than any toothpaste that you will get over the counter. It will get your teeth clean and help your teeth to maintain a natural white shade. And in addition to that, the advanced botanical mouthwash is something that we all should have in our medicine cabinet. Now, when you look at a bottle like this with 25 potent herbs like echinacea, golden cell, don't laugh at me if I mispronounce that, you know what I meant. We need these natural ingredients in our mouth rinses so that we can fight tooth decay, gingivitis, all of that plaque, halitosis, and overall poor oral hygiene. Okay, so if you want to get a good clearance when you go to the dentist, get you some Embrace Pangea. And in addition to that, make sure you use my code STORM to get 10% off your order and check out today.
Classmates, to this day. So to be able to blend with the voices that I heard when me and Nate were putting this thing together, and sing these records that used to cause me pain, it causes joy now. It's incredible, man. It's incredible. It just speaks to God. He says he doesn't give you more than you can bear, bro. I must have been able to bear a lot. Because now here I am back on the stage with them, and we had very deep talks about the history and what happened, and it's all love. It's very, very healing, a lot of closure, and now we're just enjoying what we love to do and making a living out of it. So it's awesome.
And I think that's another beautiful testimony. And I know all the full details will be in your book.
Yeah.
And, when your book comes out, feel free to come back to the show and talk.
Yeah,
to us.
appreciate it.
You're definitely welcome.
Yeah, appreciate it.
But I love that you guys were able to heal those wounds, because you see so many people in the industry that hold on to that trauma, that hurt, that pain. It becomes a part of their identity, and it be like, it's like that was 30 years ago. It's like, I understand that situation hurt, but it's time to move on. I like how you guys were able to move on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I would like to encourage anyone who's stuck there to the best way to heal that is to confront it.
Yeah.
You must understand, my healing, it wasn't without a lot of tears, pain, anger, rage, resentment, hurt, confusion, trying to figure out why, what, and when, and being able to face your pain is the only way you're going to be freed from it. You see what I'm saying? Because, when someone hears for the first time, oh, you was part of Boyz II Men, you didn't get to be with Boyz II Men, oh my God. They're immediately feeling that potential pain. They're imagining it. You see what I'm saying? Where I went through it, but it didn't define my life. Like I can honestly say I wouldn't change anything in the world. I've had enormous success across the board of life, from music to, being a father. I'm healthy, all kinds of stuff. It's a beautiful thing. So I encourage people, anytime you're stuck in a traumatic experience, the best thing you can do is face it. You're scared, you're afraid of dark, sleep in it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna apply that to a couple situations going on in my life right now.
I hear you, man. Yeah, that's the only way. That's the only way to be free from it.
Okay. So I know one thing I was interested in is you were the first person to do a duet with Beyonce.
Yeah, Queen B.
What was it like working with Beyonce for the Best Man soundtrack in '99?
It was a beautiful experience. She's a beautiful soul, beautiful person. And obviously her voice is golden. I was a little nervous, to be honest. It was really funny because at the time when I was no longer with Adjet, I moved on to sign a deal with Columbia Records, and Destiny's Child was on Columbia Records. And then there's a production team called Tone and Poke, the Track Masters, who became senior VPs of the A&R department. So they cultivated my CD called Chocolate Moon. That's how I came out with 15 Minutes. And then one day,
the dance.
Yeah, they called me up and they said, Mark, we're working on this movie called The Best Man, and we want you to go to the studio. We want you to do this duet with Beyonce. I was like, cool. Now you must understand, Beyonce had not become Beyonce yet. She was lead singer of Destiny's Child, and she hadn't even put out Crazy right now. I think it's called Crazy.
Crazy in Your Love. They didn't come out till
Crazy in Love. Yeah, it didn't even come out yet, right?
Yeah.
So the hype wasn't so crazily on her yet as it was about to be, But it was just great to know that I was going to do a duet with her because I always thought she was incredibly talented, And we eventually went, Destiny's Child, myself, we went on tour with TLC, Fan Mail Tour.
Nice.
And just built a friendship. So yeah, she's good people.
How was it working with TLC?
That was great too. I mean, I was on cloud nine because I put out my single 15 Minutes and it was going #1, and I got a call from it was a Quadri, Quadri, FYI, historically is Boyz II Men's former manager. He came and stepped in and managed me for a period, and then put me on that tour with it's called the Fan Mail Tour. And I really enjoyed it because I really liked watching how Left Eye, Sebi, and Chili handled success, on a tour. I had known them beforehand, but it was really cool to see them in and out, and make, Left Eye, may she rest in peace. That was like, I think that was the last tour she did.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think now at this point in your life, well, one, you already answered the first question I was going to ask, what would you do different? But you said you would do it all the same. And so now, at this point now, in addition to what you're doing with Boyz II Men, tell us about some of your other new projects, because you're into jazz, you're into so every genre, like you're pretty much in it. So
yeah. Well, when you're in the entertainment business, it's called multimedia, and so at the height of your career, you're either in the studio recording, or you're acting, you're producing something, whatever. So being independent, I'm still able to do that now. Right now, I've just released a jazz song called Sack Full of Dreams. And, my producer, Sherrell Moore, felt this was a good record to release now, especially during the times. It's just speaking to how we want to see the world, the vision that we have for how the world should be. And I thought it was a great cover to do. So I'm currently working on a jazz EP. This first single has some phenomenal musicians on it. Christian McBride, bass player, who I went to high school with, by the way. Wow. And and Ray Angry, keyboards. Very talented people. I'm excited about this. This is a new endeavor for me to do jazz, and I'm really loving it. I'm learning a lot about the history of jazz, because I didn't start out in the jazz world. So I'm really, really digging where I'm going with this. So that's the one thing. Right now, I'm very, very deep into acting. I'm in a couple of plays. I just got booked for a movie. And, being in New York, I'm focusing on a lot of studying acting classes and stuff like that. And then the third thing I have, the third iron, is I put together a show called Men of Vocals. And Men of Vocals is basically me and my peers. Like the first show I did was with Stephen Russell, Tony Grant, and Keith Robinson, and Stokely Williams from Mint Condition. So what I'm doing is I'm basically putting together a concert with celebrities from the 90s and bringing them on stage with me, but I'll interchange them from show to show. So you may not see the same people one city to the next. Another time I may have like Donnell Jones and Cisco and Genuine on there. Next time I might have Dave Hollister and Carl Thomas and, Gary Jenkins from Silk. And that's what's called Men of Vocals. You get what I mean?
I love that. I love that because that era of the 90s is just unmatched. Like,
I appreciate that.
I mean, I almost wish there was like a club or lounge and that's like all they played was 90s music. Like, that's where you go to get that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm giving you an idea to open up a lounge.
No. I mean, it really is a great idea. It is a great idea. And I think what I'm loving is in Men of Vocals, the one thing I love about it is, even though you have me and my peers on stage, we don't just sing our own hits. We sing a whole bunch of other people's stuff that could be coming from the 80s, the 90s, hell, sometimes maybe even the 70s. Wow. And we just sing like Luther Vandross, don't you remember you told me you love me, baby? That's Luther, Classic. To Michael Jackson, there'll be no darkness tonight, lady, your love will shine. Woo! These records are crazy.
Y'all gonna have them women going crazy, man.
Man. Yeah, and then we sing all of our other peers' music, like Music Soul Child. Saying love, so many things I gotta tell you. To Blackstreet.
Yes.
Before I let you go away. And so you got, you know, these guys, all of us are singing these people's records. The show is really hot. It's hot.
I always want, hey, you know what, maybe, like, what happened to Music Soul Child? What happened to Blackstreet? I'm so interested in what happened to these people that I used to listen to, or I heard my parents listen to, and then it's just kind of like, you don't see them. So, wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a theory behind it, you know. I mean, I don't know if you care to hear that or not, but there's a theory behind what happened to them, you know. And in so many words, it's like this. The music didn't die out, and the artist didn't die out. The business model died out. We come from major recording labels who handled everything from the marketing, the promoting, the distribution, the artist development. And then they were the ones with these massive budgets to fly us all over the world, to promote who we are. And then when the record became successful, we made our money through touring. If we wrote the song, we made our money through writing it because of the publishing.
Right.
The producers were the ones who were making the enormous amount of upfront money, from Teddy Riley's to the Dark Childs, Rodney Jerkins, to the Babyfaces, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis of the world. And these guys were really, really doing it up financially from writing and producing these records. Well, when the internet hit the market, it stripped the majors from monopolizing the entire scene. And so when the internet was able to accommodate the artists, the independent artists, it really put a dent in the majors and how they were able to, like I said, control everything. No one really listens to regular radio anymore. You have satellite radio, you have internet radio. No one buys CDs anymore. So this whole market changed up. Now, to get to the point, when you're a recording artist like myself, you get major advances. You're on tour, you're making all that money. And then you can maybe dabble into acting or whatever, the money's there. All of a sudden, the label falls. You have to figure out how to be a record label on your own. And that is what majority of the artists of the 90s didn't know how to do.
Gotcha.
Some of them still don't know how to do it.
I mean, but if it had always been taken care of for them, then yeah, they kind of, it's like giving somebody a fish versus teaching them to fish. They don't know how to market themselves. They don't
exactly. So it is
how to adapt.
It is music business ignorance that has caused the decay and demise of us flourishing and prospering as R&B artists. Now we are subjected to learning how to be independent artists. The fan base is still there.
Yeah.
But then we're so spoiled with huge numbers, from record sales to royalties to huge numbers of, income from the touring, down to we're wanting the Grammys and stuff like that. Independent artists weren't even thinking that high. So I just think we have an advantage because people do know who we are, but we have a disadvantage because we're not well versed in our knowledge base on how to handle our records independently. And the moment we can get...
But the thing is, Mark, you guys don't even have to worry about the numbers. Any group or any artist, if you have a dedicated fan base, like, they will take care of you for the rest of your life. You can do...
I'm in total agreement with you, but what I'm saying is, when an artist of my peer can get over jumping over the dollar to get to the $20 and be okay with just the dollar, then we're gonna get somewhere.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? We're constantly looking at the major big picture because that's what we're used to. Now we're having to learn selling 100,000 units is like selling 1 million units in the independent world. And you have to be okay with that. And most artists in my generation are not okay with that.
Oh, okay. I mean, look, hey, what can I say? You're used to what you're used to, but
yeah, you got to change your paradigm. You got to change how you see this. You know what I'm saying?
That is,
and that's why I created Men of Vocals. I'm gonna make sure. Trust me when I tell you, when the COVID cools down and the world opens up, I'm going to make sure that all of my artists from the 90s are working, because I'm going to do a women of vocals as well.
We definitely need that too.
Oh, yeah.
I'll come out and see some shows for sure. I would definitely come out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's up. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm excited about it.
So, all right. So I thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
My pleasure.
Are there any last words, or you want to let the audience know where they can find you?
Yeah, so I am like the iPhone, Marc Nelson. I don't spell my name with a K. It's M-A-R-C. Marc Nelson, just about everything from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. You can find me on Marc Nelson. I want to say thank you for letting me on your show, man. I like the show. You can put this out there. Before you hit me up, tracking me down, I was actually watching your program. I like your work.
Oh, wow. That's right. You was watching the, oh, God. Yeah, you was watching the, yeah, you was watching that one video. Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. I appreciate hearing that, because I can't always put like a face to my subscriber. And so it's like, oh, wow, he actually enjoyed it. So I know it's a lot that goes on in the show, but you actually could follow what was going on. It wasn't too much. So yeah, absolutely. You know, like I said, I come from the 90s as an artist, yes, but I know it's important to keep up with the times and how things are done today. And that's why I'm constantly scanning social media, and I ran across your page and I was intrigued. You know what I'm saying? So I sat there and was watching your show. It's pretty cool. Nice.
So thanks for having me, man.
Now I can tell the haters is men that watch me too, damn it.
Show. Ay, it's a storm show.